The question's been asked of you again and again. Who are you and what do you do? And someone asked me the other day, why do we need to know? Well, have you seen those wandering sadhus in India? You might have seen pictures of them. I haven't been to India, so I haven't seen them in the flesh, but they go around with their matted hair and their clothes disheveled, muttering to themselves. Well, that's how you're going to finish up if you don't answer this question. So you better find the answer. Perhaps you, like me, over these years of the reading of and listening to stories, you've come to the awareness that each of the persuasions, the stories of those persuasions, have a different energy. They have a different message, different chemistry. Like the Zen stories, cut through the mind, or trip up the mind, use a sword to bring us up short, sever our predispositions and our conditioning. And the Buddhists teach us the morals, and the Jews teach us the laws, and the Taoists teach us the alchemy of life. But it's the Sufis, for me, as I've discovered, that have embedded within their stories the answer to the question that we've been seeking. What is it that is created or is enacted when stillness and movement collide in us? What is it when it's neither a wave or a particle? Which of course is answering the question, who we are and what we do, so it all comes round to the same point, really. But the Sufis have managed to enclose in all of their stories the answer to this question. It's usually in the form of a sheikh or a dervish, as we know, but this story that's about to be told doesn't have a sheikh or a dervish in it, so that might confuse us a little bit, but that's all right. It's a story about an emir, and he was rather an enlightened being. So he would oftentimes, in the company of his trusted vizier, both in disguise, go out into the streets of his kingdom to see how the people were faring. And when he came across those who were in great need, he would leave a bag of gold at their door, or he would find some means to bring assistance to them. One day, the emir and his vizier happened to be sitting in a tea shop with several merchants of the town, and in their repartee, one of the merchants remarked, "Our blessed emir, may he live forever and Allah bring blessings upon him, but he must be very bored. I mean, here he is, every day, all he's doing is entertaining those who come from far and wide to court his favors. He listens to his advisors, and so forth and so on." Well, of course, there was almost smoke coming out of the vizier's nose and ears. He was getting so angry. But the emir gave him a little signal to keep himself in check, and the emir in conversation said to the merchant, "Well, what do you think the emir should do?" And the merchant said he should get a trade. Well, everybody at the table laughed about that. The emir with a trade. skill. And the conversation kind of fizzled out. But when the Emir and the Vizier came back to the palace, the Vizier was still very angry, and he said, "Master, would you like me to go and take care of those two fellows who talked about you so lightly at the tea shop yesterday?" The Emir said, "No, no, no. He gave me quite a thought," he said. He said, "Tomorrow I want you to bring to my palace all of the worthy artisans of our town. Bring me the saddle makers, bring me the tailors, bring me the woodworkers." Well, when they were all brought before the Emir and demonstrated to him the arts of their trade, of course he was very impressed by the great variety of talented people he had in his kingdom, and this of course is why it flourished and was doing so well. But in looking at their wares, he decided that he would become a weaver. So the greatest weaver in the land was brought to the palace every day to teach the Emir how to weave. But he mastered the art in a few months, and he became very adept, and he created the most exquisite work on his loom. In fact, he had one particular pattern that he perfected, and that was so beautiful, a motif of flowers around the edge in silk. And he even made several little squares of this pattern to give to his favorite wives. Now one evening, in their explorations in the kingdom, the Emir and the Vizier happened to be walking down a dark alleyway, when all of a sudden they were accosted by two robbers. They were dragged off into a seedy-looking house, bound hand and foot. And of course, the robbers were very pleased when they found several bags of gold in the cloaks of these two. And they said, "Well, what are we going to do with them now? We'd better kill them." But the Grand Vizier had a thought. He said, "Don't kill us. We are only wandering merchants, travellers, weavers, in fact, from Samarkand, and we've come here to do some work for the Emir. If you kill us, you miss the possibility of earning a great amount of gold." Oh, the ears pricked up. "And yes," piped in the Emir, "yes." He said, "I guarantee that if you take one of my works to the palace, you could easily receive 1,000 gold coins." Well, that was enough. So the robbers returned the little loom that the Emir carried around with him and set him to work. And in 3 days he had created the most exquisite handkerchief that he had ever